Book your next trip in region. Zambia Airports Corporation Limited. Keep flying.
Wow, that over there is a very nice Ford. Have you seen it?
Of course. I have been looking at it since we got here. My worry is how people manage such vehicles and where they buy genuine parts from.
I'm sure there's nowhere else apart from Shuma Auto Parts. They are the only supplier of genuine Ford and Mazda parts, which comes straight from the manufacturer. They have everything in stock for both latest and ordinary Mazda and Ford. They also stock service parts such as diesel filters, aircon filters, diesel pumps, steering pumps, turbochargers, engine overhaul gaskets, suspension parts, and body parts. If they don't have parts you're looking for, they can order within 5 to 10 working days. To top it up, Shuma Auto Parts also supply Maxxis tires and CST tires.
Really? But where are they found?
They are found on Chandram Sonda Road, Cruiser Auto Workshop in Lusaka. Call on 0979 192057 and 0960747235. Email shumaautoparts@gmail.com. Shuma Auto Parts for all your genuine vehicle parts.
The Happy World of 5FM Radio, your adult contemporary radio station in Zambia, connecting you to the newsmakers and events that make news in the global village.
Good evening. This is the 5FM main news at 18:30 with Judith Mwape. The headlines. Fred Membe and Raphael Nakachinda cautioned for espionage as Lars expresses concern over arrests of opposition leaders. Government urges Airports Corporation to embrace non-aeronautical revenue for debt relief. Curfew imposed in Madagascar's capital ahead of poll. And other news in detail. Police have recorded a warn and caution statement from Socialist Party leader Fred Membe and Patriotic Front Secretary General Raphael Nakachinda for the alleged offense of espionage contrary to the State Security Act, Chapter 111 of the laws of Zambia. Brief facts of the matter are that the duo, jointly and whilst acting with others between August 26th, 2023 to September 16, 2023, in the Lusaka district of the Republic of Zambia, did feature in a documentary titled The Grand Regional Scheme, Its Foreign Powers and Local Elites Are Destroying Africa, Part 1. Police spokesperson Reha Monga says this is where Dr. Membe, aged 64, and Mr. Nakachinda, aged 43, without lawful authority, communicated or passed on information intended to be directly or indirectly useful to a foreign power, which is prejudicial to the safety or interest of the public of Zambia. Mr. Hamonga says the duo has been remanded in police custody at Westwood Police Station and at Balmoral Police Station, respectively.
The accused, Raphael Nakachinda, jointly and was acting with others between the 26th of August 2023 and September 16th, 2023 in the Lusaka district of the Republic of Zambia, did feature in a documentary entitled The Grand Regional Scheme, Its Foreign Powers and Local Elites Are Destroying Africa, Part 1, with contents intended to directly or indirectly be useful to a foreign power, a documentary which is prejudicial to the safety and interests of the Republic of Zambia, which was published or communicated on different media platforms.
Meanwhile, the Law Association of Zambia has expressed concern that the increased incidents of arrests being effected on leaders of the opposition parties is most unfortunate and counterproductive for the nation. Speaking during a press briefing today, last President Lungisani Zulu says while opposition party leaders, like all other citizens, must be held accountable when they breach the law in line with the rule of law, arrests which specifically target opposition leaders critical of government are in affront of the freedom of speech these citizens enjoy under the Constitution. Mr. Zulu has further expressed concern that the political leaders, when arrested, are not immediately released on police bond despite the offences being bailable and contrary to a progressive presidential directive to the police to only arrest citizens at the conclusion of investigations and not to detain them any longer than is necessary. He notes that even when arrested, their matters are never expeditiously, if at all, taken to the courts of law for prosecution so that allegations leveled against them are determined judicially. Mr. Zulu says this suggests that the arrests of opposition parties by the police are merely an attempt to cower them into silence, something which is retrogressive in a democratic dispensation. He has further called on the Inspector General of Police, Grafiel Musamba, to ensure this comes to a stop.
When they are arrested, their matters are never expeditious, if at all, taken to the courts of law for prosecution so that the allegations leveled against them are determined judicially. This suggests that the arrests of the opposition parties by the police are merely an attempt to cower them into silence, something which is retrogressive in a democratic dispensation. Ours is call on the Inspector General of Police, being the top cop in the country, to ensure that this comes to a stop.
The Department of Immigration has disclosed that it has removed 115 illegal immigrants in a 2-day mass removal exercise. Confirming the development, Immigration Public Relations Officer Namatin Shinka has indicated that many of those removed were apprehended during the 2-day cleanup operation conducted on 10th and 11th November 2023 in various parts of Lusaka. Mr. Shinka says those removed were 55 Burundians, 25 Tanzanians, 11 Malawans, and 7 Congolese. He says others were 7 Zimbabweans, 5 Rwandese, 2 Somalis, 2 Ugandans, and 1 Kenyan.
Those removed were 55 Burundians, 25 Tanzanians, 11 Malawans, and 7 Congolese. Others were 7 Zimbabweans, 5 Rwandese, 2 Somalis, 2 Ugandans, and 1 Kenyan. The mass removal exercise brought the number of illegal immigrants removed from the country between 13th and 14th November 2023 to 118. Meanwhile, the Lusaka Regional Immigration Office on 13th and 14th November 2023 apprehended 56 suspected illegal immigrants in a cleanup operation conducted in Lusaka and Chongwe.
In another development, Mr. Shinka has disclosed that the Luanshya Immigration Office on 14th November 2023 secured the conviction of Ali Badi, a 57-year-old Somali refugee, for failure to appear before the nearest immigration officer when entering the country.
In another development, the Luanshya Immigration Office on 14th November 2023 secured the conviction of Ali Musa Abdi, a 57-year-old Somali refugee, for failure to appear before the nearest immigration officer when entering the country. He was apprehended on 11th January 2023 at the Kafulafuta checkpoint in a white Toyota Canter when, upon inspecting his travel document, an immigration officer discovered that he did not bear any entry endorsement stamp.
Copperbelt Energy Corporation has announced that it has made a total dividend payout of 117,553,922 kwacha 16 ngwe to its pension funds. Speaking during the pension funds dividend handover ceremony today, CEC Board Chairperson London Mwafulidwa says amongst the recipients of this dividend payout are National Pension Scheme Authority, Workers' Compensation Fund Control Board, Public Service Pensions Fund Board, Local Authority Superannuation Fund, and the Kwacha Pension Trust Fund. Mr. Mwafulirwa says the corporation recognizes the significance of pension funds in providing financial security for the Zambian people and is committed to ensuring that it delivers a worthwhile return on investment, not just to the pension funds, but to the members that have entrusted them to grow their investments for their future and the future of their families. He says pension funds contribute to wealth creation and financial stability for their members, and the corporation has a total of 73 pension funds that have invested in the company, accounting for 10.9% of its shareholding. Another story trending this evening. Former President Edgar Lungu this morning escorted Socialist Party leader Fred Membe to Lusaka's Ibex police station for questioning. Chief Government Spokesperson Cornelius Mwetwa has clarified that the redeployment of Chief Registrar of Societies Tandiwe Mende was timely due to her conduct, which he said was conflicting with office requirements. Up next, the business news.
5FM Radio Business News. We mean business. Keep you current in commerce, trade, and industry, local and global. It's our business to keep you informed about business.
Government has advised the Zambia Airports Corporation to adopt the non-aeronautical revenue system of business to enable it contribute to the country's ability to offset its external debts. Speaking when he toured the refurbished Kenneth Kaunda International Airport Ordwing and the Protea Hotel at KK International Airport in Lusaka today, Transport and Logistics Tayali says the improvements made to the domestic terminal adds to the country's external debt as the constructions were facilitated by a loan obtained from China. The minister explains that in order for the facility to be able to contribute to the dismantling of external debt, there is need for Zambia airports to focus on commercialization.
What improvements you've seen, especially in the construction of the new terminal, adds to what is part of Zambia's external debts. You are aware that this was constructed with money from China, which was a loan, and that in order for this facility to be able to contribute to Zambia's ability to offset that particular loan, we must an emphasis in not just getting money from facilitating the arrivals and departures of aircraft, both domestic as well as international, but that we need to shift.
And Zambia Airports Corporation Acting Managing Director Gillian Mazimba has disclosed that a number of notable changes have been made to the ordering. However, the airport is recording high domestic travels, which is causing a challenge to ground hand equipment as there are many airlines running at the same time.
Having a number of airlines running at the same time is causing a challenge on ground handling equipment. So we need to invest in that. So once that is done, most of the notable challenges will be sorted out. The terminal has been refurbished so that we provide comfort to the traveling passengers. So business has increased.
5FM Radio Business News. We mean business. Keep you current in commerce, trade, and industry, local and global. It's our business to keep you informed about business.
And now in foreign news. An overnight curfew has been imposed in Madagascar's capital, Antananarivo, ahead of Thursday's presidential election, which most opposition candidates have described as a fraud and are boycotting. The country has been extremely tense, with numerous opposition protests being dispersed by the police. Antananarivo's police chief said the curfew was necessary after he caught acts of sabotage, including the burning of a polling station. Here's Randa from the BBC.
More than 100 Israeli soldiers are continuing their search of Gaza's biggest medical complex. A doctor inside Al-Shifa Hospital told the BBC of the fear felt by medics and patients. He said he hadn't seen a single gun or any Hamas presence there. Britain's Supreme Court has ruled that the government's flagship plan to send asylum seekers to Rwanda to have their cases processed is unlawful. The court said genuine refugees could be at risk of being sent back to the countries from which they'd fled in breach of the United Nations Convention on Refugees. The British government had argued the plan would deter thousands of migrants from travelling to the UK on small boats each year. The president of South Sudan, Salva Kiir, has fired the police chief as part of a move against security officials following reports of an attempted coup against him. Venezuela has told the UN's top courts that nothing will prevent it holding a referendum next month on whether to incorporate an oil-rich region currently administered by neighbouring Guyana as a new state.
And finally, in sports news, Manchester United chief executive Richard Arnott is to leave the club after 16 years as Sir Jim Ratcliffe's deal for a 25% stake in the Old Trafford side nears completion. Arnott replaced Ed Woodward in February 2022 and will provide transactional support until the end of December. His departure comes as Ratcliffe's Ineos Group prepares to finalize its €1.25 billion minority purchase of United. And that sporting item brings us to the end of the news this evening. But before we go, a recap of the top stories. Fred Membe and Raphael Nakachinda cautioned for espionage as Lars expresses concern over arrests of opposition leaders. Government urges Airports Corporation to embrace non-aeronautical revenue for debt relief. Curfew imposed in Madagascar's capital ahead of poll. For more news, follow us on Facebook, 5FM Radio Zambia. On behalf of the entire news crew and the technical department, thank you for listening to the Happy World of 5FM. Stay safe and stay tuned to 5FM Radio. I'm Judith Mwabe. Good evening.